The call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
What's up, everybody? Good morning and welcome back to the Pod at the Palace. It's Monday, which means it's a new week. Hopefully that means we get some more news for the Arkansas Razorbacks, right? A handful of things to get into today, but I want to start with maybe just some dates to kind of keep an eye on, keep your mind on here coming up. One, the draft withdrawal deadline to maintain college eligibility. We know that, but just a reminder, it's May 28th, right? So we're about 9 days out. That essentially applies to Carter Knox here, for Razorback fans, unless he shockingly reverses course and, then you have eyes on other guys there, but he's the one that we're really, really waiting on here. Make it official, announce your return, man, and then people can breathe a little bit easier and we take it from there, right? Adu Thero, I know he said last week that they would know more by the end of the week in regards to his situation. Is the door fully closed? Is it not? I've never expected him back though. And, I've heard his feedback has been pretty cozy in that late first round, early second, top 35-ish type of range there. Seems like Cal's really hyping him up for the draft. I mean, I think we kind of see where that's headed. I don't think an announcement is necessary either way from Adu. You know what I mean? But it would be nice to get a little bit of finality, maybe if he wanted to provide it there. But with Carter, everybody's got them noties turned on, right? Whether it's, his Instagram or, Twitter accounts or whoever might, put that out there. And in a lot of cases with these stay or go things, it'll be like Jonathan Gavoni or like one of the NBA draft guys. Yes, we'll keep our eye on it. The sooner the better. I know he celebrated a birthday here recently. I thought we were going to get maybe a birthday surprise, but we didn't. That's okay. Another dead period begins on May 21st, and it lasts through the end of the month. So it's kind of a lengthy one. So what does that mean? Well, it means that even if Arkansas decided to pursue something in the portal, whether it be a draft dropout or a depth piece or whatever, if they decide they want to do that, there could be no visit until June if it doesn't happen before Wednesday, which, that in a way that kind of stinks that it's put there because the team is scheduled to, start arriving on campus for summer workouts and everything before that on Memorial Day weekend. So few things to keep an eye on there, right? Draft deadline, move-in date, dead period, all that good stuff there just to have on your radar. But let's talk about some other things. First, guys, today's episode is presented by HD Roofing and Construction. Another round of nasty storms came through the area on Sunday and more expected on Monday. I got hell again. I don't know why this keeps happening. It's so strange. But at any rate, stay out, stay safe out there, folks, please. And then give yourself some peace of mind by giving HD Roofing a call. Let them come out and take care of you. The team at HD always delivers with top-notch customer service, professionalism, high-quality materials, and expert installation. And they will come out and give you a free inspection to let you know exactly what's going on the top of your home. Give them a call, 501-428-0429 to get scheduled today, or check out their website, hdarkansas.com. We're also brought to you by Basis Health, the new and convenient way to service all your healthcare needs. If you don't like waiting rooms or doctors' offices, or, you have trouble getting where you need to be, Basis Health delivers mobile medical service straight to your front door as their physicians will come straight to you for primary care, urgent care, IV hydration, and more. I am actually a little bit of an idiot. I should have called them on Saturday when I was bleeding all over the place from that dog bite. Well, next time I'll remember and hop on over and check them out, basishealth.org. Okay, so let's start with the Boogie Fland stuff. Not the most surprising news in the world, but it's still, for me, guys, it's never really gonna set right. The thought of him just playing college basketball somewhere else. I get it. It's just, ugh. It's weird. He was so good. It would have almost been, I know he's injured and stuff. It would have been like Nick Smith leaving Arkansas and playing somewhere else. That might have been a really bad comp, but I don't know. Because he was an in-state guy, but man, a 5-star guy who's showed all his promise, dealt with some injury. And like, what if he would have, you thought he was going to be a first-round pick. And, Nick wound up sliding quite a bit. But what if he was like, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to hit the portal and go somewhere else. That would have been weird. At any rate, not the most surprising news in the world, obviously. But Boogie Fland begins an official visit to Florida on Monday. Does that mean it's a done deal to him, going to play for Todd Golden? No. But realistically, the Gators have been the favorite, and now he's going to be there on a visit right before they go celebrate their national championship at the White House, by the way. So there's that part of it. So I don't know, brace yourselves or whatever. Whether you thought that there was a chance he was coming back to Arkansas or not, there's just always something to finality when it comes. So it leaves a sour taste in your mouth or whatever. I get it. I kind of feel that too. If this is what winds up happening here, I know that there's been some thought out there that, Cal has maybe encouraged Boogie to go elsewhere. Said, hey, you can get more NIL elsewhere and, find a more clear role elsewhere. I fully understand the backcourt logistics here. We've talked about it a ton, but am I the only one having a hard time believing this or rationalizing it? Frankly, that sounds borderline insane to me. And I hope that it's only like partially true, or like an incomplete message there. Sure. Let's encourage the best guard in the portal who was on your team last year to go to the defending national champs so they stay better than you. I'm not crazy about that. Of course, that's just one side to the story. What I hope actually happens or has happened is that Cal just kind of lays it out there on the table. Here's what we have for you NIL wise. Here's the role that we envision for you and how we can make this work. DJ and Darius and Leak. And then decide if that's best for you. You make the decision. And if you feel like it's better for you elsewhere, then man, best of luck at your next stop. But I certainly hope that they aren't pushing him out the door. Massive difference there in that versus, telling a kid that, you gave the keys to right away as a freshman and then immediately reinsert him in the NCAA tournament after a lengthy absence with an injury that hey, we can't afford you and we don't have room for you when you've got 3 guards on the roster. I don't know about that one. But I do know that Cal operates differently. And we talked yesterday about just kind of shifting the mindset a little bit with like the roster construction stuff to, okay, they're going to tackle this from all angles, but if we're doing a totem pole, then transfer portal is on the bottom and retention, and getting these freshmen is higher up. So more of an emphasis on the high school kids than maybe we had been doing. And just the same thing with kind of the way he operates here, which is just, it's a little bit different. His mind works differently than some other coaches. But in my opinion, at least, that goes more for the stay or go stuff than it does the transfer portal. Like it's one thing with the Do Thero right now. Like he had his breakout year. Hey man, strike while the iron is hot. Even though there are plenty of guys out there who are mocked ahead of a Do that are likely to return to school for more money. Which is interesting, but that's one thing. And it's another to, send a really good player to another school without a fight, which, what I'm saying is I understand the premise here with DJ and Darius and everything like that, but I just have a hard time making sense of that other side of it. Would have been one thing to encourage him to stay in the draft, to go elsewhere. I don't know. But hey, and the other thing too is like Cal has said the reason that he didn't want a super deep roster is because he doesn't want to coach a guy up for a year for someone else to be able to reap the benefit, for him to just go transfer and play somewhere else. That's kind of exactly what's happening here. And maybe that's why I have a sour taste in my mouth about it, because I fully understand the roster makeup aspect of it and the fit and everything's questionable. Yeah, I get that for sure. It's like, I'm not super stressed about it. It just feels a little bit weird, feels a little bit off. And not that that's John Calipari's fault at all. It's not. It's not even an unfortunate circumstance. It's just the way that it shook out here. Boogie was all in for the draft when he entered. Nobody expected him back. He didn't expect to be back in college. And by the time that he even got all the feedback he needed to decide, yeah, maybe I should keep my options and everything open here. And he entered the portal. All the other stuff was kind of already decided at that point. You know what I mean? Like Arkansas and the staff, they couldn't just wait around for the hypothetical that seemed super, super unlikely that, well, maybe Boogie winds up playing college basketball next season. No, you couldn't do that. You had to lock in DJ and get that returning vet in the backcourt with your young guys. It would have been crazy not to. You know? But I hope they do just let Boogie decide what's best for him. Like, at least make your pitch to him. It's like, hey, Rob and Reed and DJ and Antonio Reeves, we made it work. And so here's the blueprint. I'm not saying lie to him. There are ways that you could spin it if you wanted to. I mean, like, we get stuck on positional stuff so much. Playing the 1, playing the 2. With the roster is constructed right now, I think logically it kind of suggests if you wanted to get crazy and add one more player to the roster, you would either add a 4, which I personally think would be the best move. And it doesn't have to be a star or a stud or whatever, just a reliable vet. It's a backup guy. Insurance policy. Do that, or you add a guard, like Boogie, which we know is pie in the sky at this point, and just be prepared to play more 3 and 4 guard lineups. Like 3 guards and Carter. 3 guards and Billy or whatever, and then a big, when Trevin's not in there at the 4. That's kind of what you're looking at now anyway. So you could add another body and still do that, or you could add a backup 4-man to give you some insurance and a little bit of depth and flexibility and still kind of attack it in a more traditional way. But regardless, we'll see where I think we all understand where this Boogie thing is trending with Florida. We'll keep an eye on that visit. And with the dead period coming up, we just talked about that earlier. It feels doubtful, I guess, that Boogie's going to be really waiting it out to take a bunch of other trips. Is he really just going to go to Florida and then just sit on his hands for 10 days and then take a bunch of other visits? I don't think that's going to be the case. I could be wrong about that. It's not like he'd need to take a visit to Arkansas, although that would be hilarious if he did. But we're talking about some of the other schools that were at least believed at some level to be involved: Kansas, NC State, whoever. So I don't know. But again, like I trust the man, Cal. I like what they have a ton. This is not me saying, with the Boogie stuff, like, oh, it's crazy if they don't get him back. No, it's not that. I just like to see him try, because I just feel like that would really take you over the top. It's not an overreaction to that. And if not him, you guys know how I feel. Like I hope that they add one more piece outside of Carter and just give yourself a little bit of extra breathing room, a little bit of extra cushion, some more depth. Nothing crazy. It's not me saying, oh, this is bad. They're going to suck. This isn't going to work. No, not at all. I like what Arkansas has a ton. They're going to be really good. I love the retention. I love the 2 bigs that they brought in. Feels like this might be on the verge of the roster being a little bit more vulnerable than I'm comfortable with, but I'm not the expert, And like the man said over and over and over the other day, we'll see how it plays out. And then we'll kind of evaluate the finished product, whatever that may be. But regardless of what it is, Arkansas is going to be just fine there. It's okay for us to be a little bit selfish with what we want. Last thing I want to touch on real quick, and then we'll get out of here for the day. More stuff for the future. Watched a little bit more EYBL action on Sunday afternoon and had a lot of fun. Got to catch a future Razorback against my personal number 1 want to join him in a Razorback uniform. It was JJ Andrews versus Christian Collins. We talked about both those guys yesterday from separate performances. And then they played against each other Sunday afternoon. Whew, man. The things I would do to see these guys paired up as Razorbacks a year from now. That'd be big time stuff. Like, Arkansas is going to go out there. Cal's going to get his guards. It's just what he does. But with what you have in JJ, just a big, powerful wing there. Play the 2. Yeah, that's fine also. And then Christian Collins, I just feel like those guys complement each other really, really well. But they played against each other yesterday, and, JJ, it kind of stunk because he rolled an ankle early, and he wound up missing pretty much the whole second quarter. He was scoreless at halftime, and I was getting ready to turn it off, but he came back in. Like, he was okay, just tweaked it, whatever, probably got a tape job. And then he balled out in the second half. And Brad Beal Elite was getting their butts kicked without him out there on the floor. I think they were down 15 or more. And he had 17 in the second half alone. JJ did. And he almost led him to a huge comeback. They only wound up losing by 2. So it was pretty cool. It was fun to watch. JJ's good. Man, he's just really aggressive, getting downhill and drawing contact, was getting to the line, getting to the rim a lot. In this one, he did hit another 3. I think he only shot a couple. His activity levels were great defensively. They were in a position where they had to be just super aggressive and try to force some turnovers so they could get back in the game. And he was a big catalyst for that. He's so strong going to his left. He's lefty. He had that taken away from him once. He was trying to drive left on the baseline, got cut off, just a smooth crossover, got to his right hand into the paint, jumped up, hammered one. When we talk about that development and, the progression in his game, that's part of it right there. But it was fun. He kind of went into alpha mode there. And honestly, he should have had the rock every possession late. Like, it should have been in his hands more even than it was. But just another really, really strong showing for him. And he's really looked the part. He's really impressed me this weekend against some of the best competition that he's, able to face in the country. And then Collins, he had a game high 23 points himself. And he showed some different things than he did when I watched him the day before, which is crazy because my biggest thing about him was like, man, this guy's doing everything. He's impacting everything. But the one thing I really didn't see, now the shot looked good coming out of his hands, but he was knocking that sucker down on Sunday. He was 3 of 4 from 3 to go with those 23 points there. I thought he did a really, really good job. We talked about JJ being so aggressive defensively because Brad Beal Elite, they had to press and run and jump and trap and try to generate some turnovers. And so for Team Why Not, it was, okay, you got to take care of the basketball, break the press, get into your half court, and execute. And Collins did a really, really good job, I thought, of navigating that press, getting open spots, finding open men. I think he only had 1 turnover the entire game. Looked poised and looked comfortable with the ball in his hands against pressure and against double teams. And that was good to see. And, he was the guy for sure in this game because Taj Ariza, his fellow 5-star teammate, wasn't playing in this one. So a lot more onus on him. And he delivered. And it was maybe too close for comfort, given the lead that they had, but they were able to pull that thing out and win in the end. So it was a really good watch. With JJ, I would guess we'll have a rankings update. They've got another live session. It's not a live eval period for coaches. They can't be out there, but they're playing another weekend coming up here. So probably the beginning of June, I think, will be the next rankings update. If JJ Andrews is not back inside the top 25 and pushing 5-star status again, like I'm really not sure what people are watching or what it is they feel like they need to see. Because now we're 2 weekends in to the EYBL season, and JJ, he's been the alpha for Brad Beal Elite, which is just a traditionally, powerhouse type of program. And, he's been arguably the most efficient player on the circuit. And he showed the ability to play off the ball. He showed the ability to take over a game, just a complete, alpha type of performance that he had the other night. Creating for others, creating for himself. He's still got that power getting downhill. He shot the crap out of it from 3, defending at a high level. I mean, what does he need to do? Looks the part physically, looks the part on the floor, and doing it against the best competition that there is out there. It's like, I'm not crazy. Like, I'm not trying to make the case for him to pass Tyron Stokes or something like that. But I mean, good grief. You're telling me there are 40 better players in that class, 40 better players in that gym than JJ Andrews? There's just not. I'm sorry about you. So, I think he was, let me look it up because I want to be accurate here. I'll just check him on 24/7 to see exactly where he was at. Because I take a lot more stock in their rankings than I do on 3. 42nd in his class as of right now at 24/7 Sports. And remember, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Some of it is not playing on that night. Like, he's not in the EYBL Scholastic circuit. He wasn't at Geico National. He's not with Montverde or, Link Academy or IMG or some of those major schools like that. So during the high school season, you just don't see him as much if you're a national scout. You know, like Eric Bossie's not going to Little Rock Christian and watch him play. It's just kind of the way that it works. So that's part of it. But the way he's shining under the spotlight, you know, here in the summer, 42nd seems crazy to me. Like I really hope to see him back inside that top 25 and pushing 5-star status again. He really looks the part. And then with Collins, I mean, he's just quickly climbed to the top of my wish list here. It didn't take him long. I just love the way that he plays. It was actually interesting. We were watching the games and going back and forth with folks on the Discord, and it made me laugh. But then I thought about it, and I was like, it's low key. This is kind of true. But our buddy Pinto, he said that that Collins is what people want Nate Ament to be. I got to thinking about that, and I was like, you know, there's some truth to that. You know, so I like him a lot as a prospect, man. 6'8", super long. Athletic, guard skills, multi-positional, switchable, all those things that you want to see. And that's probably the next evolution here in the recruiting for Cal at Arkansas, because he's been getting these dynamite guards, but now starting to get those long, ridiculously athletic, you know, wings who have that versatility. We've seen so many of those guys coming out of his programs at Kentucky. If you have just a physical specimen like JJ and you compare somebody like Collins with him, that'd be crazy work. He looked every bit of the top 5 player that he's ranked as. The competition is going to be incredibly stiff for all of these guys, though. You know, I mean, that's the way it works when you're recruiting at the top of the list every single time. And that's where we're at here with Arkansas. But man, really impressed with him. And we'll talk about some more guys. And like I said, I want to put together kind of the wish list and, you know, the big board and everything like that. But, you know, I was high on the JJ Andrews pickup when they got him, but then being able to watch him the entire weekend really blew me away. I thought that he was underrated anyway. Now I think he's vastly underrated. I mean, he blew me away. I was underrating him and I was high on him. You know, if you think back to that live reaction that we did. So really impressive stuff from him. And I think this is a strong class. You know, 2026, there's some really good players there, and Arkansas is in on some absolute dogs. So I'm excited to see what it looks like. Right? You would think, based on what Cal said, that you're in the running to try to get at least 3 more. And, man, they can't go wrong with some of the guys that they were out there watching. And, you know, Chin Coleman was right there, you know, dripped out front and center. He was watching JJ and Christian in that game. You could see him sitting there. I know Cal was still there making the rounds. He was there all weekend from the looks of it. So good stuff. But anyway, we're going to get out of here for the day. Like I said, we'll keep an eye on the Boogie Fland stuff and see what happens there. And we just wait with bated breath on our man Carter Knox to see when he's going to make this thing official. And, you know, we'll take it from there. So appreciate you guys for tapping in. I'll be back tomorrow morning. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod the Palace. Y'all have